Hi, I'm Vicki Gilhula, editor of Sudbury Living magazine. Margaret Atwood is without a doubt the most well-known writer in Canada. She has an international reputation that has increased her cachet at home. She has written 13 novels as well as children's books, short stories, nonfiction, and poetry. Her work has been translated into many languages. The author is in Sudbury this week to celebrate her birthday with her many fans, something that she's done for several years. Proceeds from the dinner will go to a scholarship fund at Laurentian University and the building fund for the university's Indigenous Sharing and Learning Center. I'm delighted to meet Margaret Atwood, who I suspect has been asked about every question possible about her work. What I'd like to know first is, how does it feel to have every word you've probably ever written interpreted, analyzed, reviewed, grade 6's students doing book reviews on, and university students doing essays and theses on it? How does it feel to be the subject of that type of thing?
It's better than being dead.
Yes.
On the other hand, I'm not there when they're doing it. So I might hear about it later, or I might hear about it on Twitter by kids saying, help, help, I have to, do a project, what do I do? Like that. But other than that, there's a lot of it out there that is just unseen by me, because I don't know about it.
So do you answer them back?
I say, you can find a lot of stuff online, which you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So, and no, I'm not going to tell you what happens after the end of The Handmaid's Tale, because I don't know.
And you have on your website, Negotiating with the Dead, Advice for Writers. So how did that happen?
Well, that was Cambridge, England, the university, who said, will you come and do the 6-part speech series in honor of William Empson? And I said, I'm washing my hair. And then they said, well, will you do it next year? And I said, well, I'll be washing my hair then too. So they wore me down. And I went over and gave 6 is a lot, 6 with an audience of, the mandate was ordinary people off the street, students, and academics. That's a wide range. So that's why the range of reference goes everywhere from obscure Middle English texts to Stephen King. It's not about how to write, it's not about my writing, it is what do writers think they're doing? How does writing, say, a novel differ from being an opera singer? And what is the difference there? And who do writers think they are?
Do you think about who you are? Do you think about your audience? Or do you think about what you're trying to say to an audience? Or? No,
I don't think about any of those things. I think about what's going to happen next.
In your story?
Yes. So this is what happens on page 38. What is going to happen on page 39? That's my job, getting from page 38 to page 39. What I can say is that every reading of a book by a reader is interactive, and it's also a performance. You, the reader, are performing the text the same way a violin player is performing a piece of music. And therefore, every one of those performances is different, just as every violin player is going to play that piece of music, says the same thing on the sheet of music, but every interpretation is going to be somewhat different. And so it is with reading.
Let's talk, I want to go back to social media, because a lot of people, experts, are concerned about readers because of social media. And
why?
I think they're afraid that maybe the book will disappear, or that the language that's tweeted, the short forms. And
that is silly, because they don't remember the telegraph. Okay, so the telegraph is another short form. You wrote it in telegraphese, and the reason you did that was that you paid by the word. So you weren't going to, have a long passage of purple prose unless you were really quite rich. You condensed your message. You left out a lot of articles. It was very cryptic, but people didn't talk that way, and they didn't take that form and start writing novels that way unless there was a telegram in the novel. So it's the same on Twitter. You condense things. There's 140 characters. You use abbreviations. But that doesn't mean you go around talking that way, any more than texting means that you talk like a text. Again, the thing about texting is it's quick, therefore you abbreviate, like the telegraph. I said that the internet is increasing literacy. Now, I didn't mean that it was turning people into James Joyce. I meant that you have to be able to read in order to use it at all. So especially for young kids, the fact that they can write stuff, put it up there under a pseudonym, Mommy and Daddy need not know, your friends need not laugh at you for your vampire novel, but you are getting practice in putting a plot together.
You have a book about zombies out.
It's the serial Wattpad story.
Great. So
We're on episode 5, but tomorrow, it being Wednesday, you'll be able to read episode 6.
I was going to ask you though, what is the fascination of young people with zombies?
Now that's a very interesting topic, because sometimes it's vampires, which we had a lot in the Anne Rice era, and even in the Twilight era, and sometimes it is zombies. So why is that? Vampires, you can see the perks. You can see why one might want to be that. But nobody wants to be a zombie. They've got no brains. So you could say that it's the youth of today saying, I don't have a future. And I think for especially in an age that's demanding a lot of you, demanding that you be on the ball all the time and that you be interactive and you do all these things, it's kind of a vacation not to have a brain. So this is really fun. Nobody's expecting anything from me. I'm a zombie. What do you want from me? I'm just shambling here.
What novel would you recommend to someone who wasn't familiar with your work?
What age are they?
I'm thinking of a young reader.
Are they male or female?
Oh, wow. Let's start with female then.
For females, maybe The Handmaid's Tale. For males, Oryx and Craig. That has a large cult following of younger male people, although a lot of female people as well, it turns out. They rather fancy Jimmy. They think maybe they might have been able to do something with him.